Wuxia. Starting from the Deer and the Cauldron. Introduction. In the Deer and the Cauldron, at the beginning, Wei Xiaobao became a true eunuch, plundering everything from the protagonist and rebuilding the Han Dynasty. In the world of the Heavenly Dragon Eight Ministries, at the beginning, he abducted the Immortal Sister and climbed to the summit of cultivation, defeating the Shaolin Sweeping Monk. Fengyan Fairy Sword World. After breaking through the heavens and earth, he soared all the way up, with low martial arts, medium martial arts, high martial arts, immortal heroes, journey to the west, and the vast wilderness, all the heavens and all the realms, only I am honored. This is a story of transitioning from martial arts to immortality. This book focuses on reminiscing about various classic martial arts, taking readers to appreciate the charm of old films. Chapter 1. The beginning. Castrated. Wei Xiaobao. You are listening at Novel Full.audio. The long night was long, with no intention of sleeping. Qin Ran sat alone on the roof, looking up at the starry sky. His figure looked a bit lonely, but his heart was filled with passion. DD, the system for changing the storyline of the heavens has been loaded. DD, retrieving world nodes, captured. DD, has the host traveled to the world of Deer and Cauldron and changed the plot? Yes. No, it's not easy. This system, which I've been loading since I remember it for 24 years, has finally finished loading. Qin Ran tearfully said, it's finally my turn to start a promiscuous life. Yes, Qin Ran immediately made a choice. In the next moment, time and space will change. When Qin Ran opened his eyes again, he saw a long queue in front of him. What is this? Qin Ran was slightly taken aback, looking at the signs on the left side of the labor office and the right side of the eunuch recruitment office, and immediately realized his location and timeline. At this point, it should be the time when the protagonist of the Deer and the Cauldron, Wei Xiaobao, had already worshipped the heavenly and earthly society and was subsequently sent by Jianning to the palace to search for the entry of the 42 chapters sutra. As expected, a young man with a tiger skin hat on his head and a bit of a flowing aura walked over, probing his head and mind. It is the protagonist of the plot, Wei Xiaobao. From his perspective, the sign of the eunuch recruitment office happened to be blocked by the soldiers guarding the door. Wei Xiaobao saw that there were many people queuing up at the miscellaneous service office, so he went there and asked the guard soldiers, is this the recruitment office? Of course, this is the recruitment office, just the eunuch recruitment office. The soldier's eyes lit up when he heard this, and he quickly nodded and said, yes, this is the recruitment office. You should go in quickly. So, Wei Xiaobao rushed into the eunuch recruitment office. Qin Ran witnessed all of this with his own eyes and thought to himself, since my system is a system that changes the storyline of the heavens, I should try my best to change the original storyline. Now, by changing the storyline, Wei Xiaobao can be successfully castrated and become a eunuch. This may reward me. With a fierce heart, Qin Ran also followed into the eunuch recruitment office. However, he didn't walk in at all, but wandered in the corridor at the entrance of the purification room. According to the plot, the eunuch Hai Dafu, the grand eunuch in the palace, would soon come over. As expected, not long after, Hai Dafu arrived in person. Qin Ran intentionally or unintentionally blocked Hai Dafu's way. Hai Dafu immediately noticed him, even though he was a eunuch. Seeing Qin Ran, he couldn't help but exclaim, young man, what are you doing here? Qin Ran smiled shyly and said, uncle, someone inside is castrating, and I'm waiting in line. Oh. Hai Dafu smiled at the words and said, young man, why do you think you're not old enough to become a eunuch in the palace? Qin Ran had already figured out his words and said, alas, uncle, you don't know anything. It's all because I've been obsessed with alcohol and sex since I was 11 or 12 years old, and now. Alas, it's really hard to say in a single word. Qin Ran let out a long sigh and vividly portrayed a young man who was unaware of the value of gold. Upon hearing this, Hai Dafu squinted his eyes and asked, is it really not working? Qin Ran nodded regretfully and said, it's really not possible. It's a pity that you're so handsome, half as handsome as me. Hai Dafu came to the eunuch recruitment office this time to recruit someone to infiltrate the Empress Dowager's Xianxia palace with another eunuch, Xiaogizi, and search for the 40.2 chapters of the scriptures. The eunuch recruitment office is filled with newly cleansed eunuchs, and eunuchs who suffer from the loss of good chickens often need several months of cultivation before they can move freely. But Hai Dafu is preparing to send someone to infiltrate the Xianxia palace tonight, so he can't wait. So, Hai Dafu originally wanted to make an exception and find a little eunuch, who had registered at the eunuch recruitment office but had not yet become clean as a helper. Unexpectedly, at the entrance of the eunuch recruitment office, he met Qin Ran, who was no longer able. That's great. Since we are all eunuchs, we can avoid suffering. You can come with me directly. Hai Dafu was very satisfied and then took Qin Ran to register. Just as he registered his name at the eunuch recruitment office, Qin Ran heard a mournful scream coming from not far away. Ah ah ah. At the same time, the sound of the system was also ringing in my ears. Didi, congratulations to the host for blocking Hai Dafu, causing Wei Xiaobao to be castrated and become a eunuch. He successfully changed the plot, rewarded 1,000 fate points, used the thief's hand +1 times, and received a newlywed gift. Didi, do you want to start the new person meeting ceremony? Qin Ran was overjoyed in his heart and immediately muttered, open. Congratulations to the host, you have obtained physical fitness. Tong my martial body, obtained 10 wash marrow pills, and 10 revival pills. Immediately, Qin Ran felt a tingling sensation in his body, and then suddenly felt incredibly relaxed, as if he had shed a heavy shell. At the same time, a stream of information flooded into Qin Ran's mind, not just an introduction to the system itself, Tong Mai Wudi, Shisui Dan, and Rebirth Dan. The content was complex and numerous, making Qin Ran dizzy and confused for a moment. What are you standing there for? Follow up quickly. Hai Dafu frowned ahead. Yu reading www.yuyukeangshu.net. But when Qin Ran received this information, he stood there on the spot, being urged by Hai Dafu. He didn't care about digesting this information and quickly followed suit, while silently mourning in his heart. I'm sorry, brother Wei Xiaobao. You lost your little brother for no reason. As compensation, I will take care of your 7 wives. In the palace. Qin Ran followed Hai Dafu and saw a little eunuch. This little eunuch is the last eunuch named Xiaogizi by Hai Dafu's side. Real names are not allowed in the palace. Since your common name is Qin Ran, from today on, you should be called Xiaoranzi. Hai Dafu turned around and said to Qin Ran. At the same time, he grabbed Qin Ran's shoulder with his palm, and a sharp pain spread from Qin Ran's arm directly to his entire body. Qin Ran's face instantly turned ugly. Damn it, he forgot about this plot. Hai Dafu, this old guy, probably didn't have the poison of bone-melting soft palm on him. Huagu Mianzhang is a unique martial arts skill of Hai Dafu. Without him to detoxify, within 10 months, the poisoned person would have turned into blood and water, unable to even leave a whole body, and extremely ruthless. Xiaoranzi, he is Xiaogizi. Xiaogizi, he is Xiaoranzi. Hai Dafu gave a brief and rough introduction to the two of them. Hai Dafu has a good position in the imperial palace, with his own side hall and a small courtyard. He has several eunuchs under his command, but all of them, except for Xiaogizi, died in the Xianxia palace. Returning to the side hall, Xiaogizi lit up the oil lamps in various parts of the hall. Hai Dafu found a seat to sit down and said leisurely, Xiaogizi, tonight you and Xiaoranzi will sneak into the Empress Dowager's Xianxia palace and help me find something very important to come back. Chapter 2. The Hand of Thief. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Before Qin Ran could react, the little Gizi next to him had already knelt down with a thud, kowtowing and pleading, Gong Gong, please spare your life. Every brother who goes to the Empress Dowager's Xianxia palace will die in the imperial garden the next morning, and his meridians will freeze. I beg Gonggang to bypass little Gizi, please spare your life. On the other hand, Qin Ran's face was not very attractive either. Even though he knew the plot, he knew it was an extremely dangerous move. Now that he was just an ordinary person, he couldn't guarantee that he could be as dangerous as Wei Xiaobao. Xiao Gizi, who was pleading hard, saw Hai Dafu's indifferent expression without any change. Her heart suddenly froze and she got up and rushed to Qin Ran's side. She grabbed Qin Ran's neck with her back hand and hid behind him, slowly walking towards the door. The sudden incident caught Qin Ran off guard. Hai Dafu looked at Xiao Gizi with a smile on his face and said, "What's wrong? Xiao Gizi, you've been with me for so long. Do you think this way you can escape my unique skill?" Xiao Gizi's face showed a fierce expression and said fiercely, "Going to the Xianxia palace is also death, even if you fight it, it's also death. Of course, I chose to fight it." He watched Hai Dafu with vigilance, grabbed Qin Ran, and quickly arrived at the gate. Xiao Gizi's face lit up with joy, as if she saw hope for escape. She pushed Qin Ran directly towards Hai Dafu, while she quickly ran towards the side hall. As long as you run outside the palace and to places with people, even Hai Dafu cannot kill people in the palace without hesitation. He seemed to have seen hope in life. Looking at Xiao Gizi running away, there was a hint of sarcasm in Hai Dafu's eyes. "Xiao Ranzi, today I want you to broaden your horizons and see the consequences of betraying me." After speaking, he saw his right hand palm in the air, continuous, and then split into the air with a palm, hitting the figure of the fleeing little Gizi. Dong! The door was pierced through by the palm force of Hai Dafu, leaving a palm print. Puff! Xiao Gizi was hit by palm force, spat out blood, and fell to the ground silently. In no time, her bones melted and turned into blood. Qin Ran felt a slight chill in his heart as he looked at Xiao Gizi, who had almost instantly turned into a pool of blood, trembling with fear. The power of this bone-melting soft palm is also too terrifying. Hai Dafu looked at Qin Ran with a smile on his face. "Xiao Ranzi, if you want to run, you will end up like him." Qin Ran quickly pretended to apologize and said, "I was able to enter the palace thanks to Lord Hai's cultivation. I have no ulterior motives. If you let me go east, I will never go west." Seeing Qin Ran's loyalty, Hai Dafu nodded in satisfaction. "Don't worry. I'm in urgent need of manpower now. As long as you listen, I will never kill you. However, don't think of sneaking away and running away secretly. As early as I saw you, I had already poisoned your body with the slow bone-softening palm poison. Look at your wrist, when the green line on your wrist reaches your elbow, you're like the little Gizi just now, with no bones left." Hai Dafu calmly revealed this fact. Qin Ran's heart sank. Sure enough, Hai Dafu, this old man, had planted the poison of bone melting and palm softening on himself. Thinking of Xiao Gizi's death just now, he felt a chill in his heart. Xiaoming ultimately wants it, so it seems that we can only assume it's a snake for now. Qin Ran secretly made up his mind, but on the surface, he deliberately showed a worried expression. "Lord Hai, I am loyal to you. There's no need to treat me like this. And since I'm new here, I'm not familiar with the palace and courtyard at all. Can you?" "Humph." Hai Dafu let out a cold snort. "Stop talking nonsense. If you can help me find the 42 chapters classic, from the Empress Dowager's bedroom, I will relieve the bone-transforming soft palm on your body. If you dare not put your heart into it. Humph. That pool of blood will be your end." Qin Ran repeatedly said yes, but his eyes turned and he said, "Grandpa, I haven't had enough water or rice all day. Even if I work for Grandpa, I have to eat and drink enough." After a moment of contemplation, Hai Dafu spoke up and said, "There is a prepared dine in service in the inner room. I'll give you half a burning incense stick, hurry up and eat." Qin Ran nodded and quickly walked into the inner room. Seeing that Hai Dafu couldn't see him, he breathed a sigh of relief. Whether staying here or going to the Xianxia palace, there are many crises, and he needs to strengthen himself as much as possible. Sorting out the information conveyed by the system in his mind is undoubtedly the top priority. After a moment, Qin Ran opened his eyes, but his expression was filled with uncontrollable joy. Tong Mai Wu Ti, as the name suggests, means that regardless of what martial arts Qin Ran cultivates, his meridians are unobstructed without any bottlenecks, making him one of the unparalleled martial arts talents in the billions. The wash marrow pill can absorb impurities from the human body, with pure power. The effect of the revival pill is even more magical, and it can be called a divine elixir. As long as a person still has one breath, taking the revival pill can instantly heal all injuries. It is truly the supreme treasure of wandering in the martial arts world. In addition, the system also comes with a 3x3 storage space, where the wash marrow pill and revival pill are stored and can be accessed at any time. And every time the plot changes, Qin Ran will have a chance to use the thief luck hand, which can steal and plunder something from people or objects. Now Qin Ran happened to have a chance to use the hand of theft. After thinking for a moment, he walked to the door of the inner room and secretly used the hand of theft towards Hai Dafu with his back facing him. Drip. Obtain pure Yang Boy skill, Chunyang Tongzi Gong. Qin Ran was overjoyed in his heart. This was the most authentic internal martial arts, and it was also the thing he lacked the most now. At this moment, Hai Dafu suddenly spoke up, Xianxia, have you finished eating? This startled Qin Ran. Was it because he was discovered by Hai Dafu using the hand of theft? Half a time later, Qin Ran breathed a sigh of relief when he saw that Hai Dafu had nothing else unusual. It was probably because he heard his own movements. I guess so, if people at the level of Hai Dafu could detect the actions of the thief, then the system's power would be too low. In the information transmitted by the system, utilizing the obtained destiny points can improve one's physical fitness and the skills learned. For example, spending 300 destiny points can lead to the introduction of pure Yang Boy art. However, Qin Ran was not in a hurry to upgrade to pure Yang Boy art. His current destiny points are not many, and even if he uses them all, it will be of no use. Instead, it will attract the attention of Hai Dafu. After all, it's a remarkable thing that a person who has just lost any martial arts skills suddenly possesses impressive internal strength. Qin Ran walked out of the inner room and whispered, Grandpa, I have already eaten well. Hai Dafu nodded, but didn't see any movement from him. He turned around and came to Qin Ran's side, grabbed his collar, jumped up in the air, and leaped several times on the roof. The two of them then arrived at the palace wall outside the Empress Dowager's bedroom. Hai Dafu squinted his eyes and said, the Empress Dowager has gone to Kunhe Hall to pay respects to the Buddha tonight. It will take at least an hour to come back. You have enough time to find that 42 chapter scripture. Once you have the scripture, come back to me immediately. Chapter 3. Qin Ran pretends to be crazy and foolish. You are listening at novelfull.audio. After speaking, Hai Dafu pushed Qin Ran hard. The powerful palm power directly sent Qin Ran to the center of the Xianxia palace. Qin Ran looked at the somewhat silent Xianxia palace in front of him and was about to enter when he suddenly heard the maid's greeting from a distance. Welcome the Empress Dowager back to the palace. Qin Ran's face suddenly changed. Did he come back so quickly? What about the agreed upon hour? Without much time to think, Qin Ran could only find a relatively hidden corner and hide inside. Soon, the Empress Dowager walked in under the attendance of the palace maids. Empress Dowager, I have come to change your clothes. Coincidentally, in the corner where Qin Ran was hiding, he could just see the scene of the Empress Dowager changing clothes and her delicate white back. In order to keep an eye on the enemy's movements, Qin Ran could only keep an alert eye on the Empress Dowager, not daring to move her eyes. Appreciating and admiring Qin Ran, but Qin Ran knew that what was in front of him was not the true Empress Dowager. The real Empress Dowager doesn't know which dark room she's locked in. What is in front of me is the holy maiden of the great cult of the Jianhu, the Divine Dragon sect. The Divine Dragon Su Nu Gong, which is passed down by the sect leader, is extremely magical. If one can obtain the Yuan Yin of women who practice this skill, they can obtain more than 90% of their power. This made Qin Ran covet it very much, but now the fake Empress Dowager longer has not yet become the leader of the Divine Dragon sect, and the timing is not ripe. He can only think about these things in his heart. Whoosh! At this moment, a masked figure wearing a black tight-fitting suit suddenly appeared in the Xianxia hall. What person? The palace maids serving nearby immediately noticed the masked man and issued a warning. The Empress Dowager's face darkened, and she put on a long robe and killed the palace maids beside her. The masked person who suddenly broke in had exceptional martial arts skills, with his double hair hitting back and forth, and soon left this place. For a moment, there were no figures in the entire Xianxia palace. Qin Ran breathed a slight sigh of relief and walked out of his hiding place. The masked man was obviously disguised by Hai Dafu. Obviously, he wanted to use this method to lure the Empress Dowager and her maids away and buy time for Qin Ran to search for the 42 chapters of the classic. According to the memory of the plot, Qin Ran did not waste time elsewhere, but went straight to the Empress Dowager's phoenix bed. He remembers very clearly that in the original plot, Wei Xiaobao successfully found the 42-chapter scripture on the Empress Dowager's bed. Qin Ran groped a little on the phoenix bed, and soon, with a strange expression, he pulled out a 42-chapter scripture from under his pillow. After being snatched by various forces, the fake Empress Dowager actually placed these 42 chapters directly under her pillow, which is somewhat absurd. However, upon careful observation, it can be found that this scripture has traces of daily reading, indicating that the Empress Dowager often studies it. Since the thing was found, Qin Ran grabbed the 40.2 chapters in his hand and was about to leave. Suddenly, he heard footsteps behind him. In the future, he had time to turn around and react. The 40.2 chapters in his hand were actually snatched away by someone. Wow! You dead eunuch, you dare to steal things. Qin Ran looked at the young man in front of him, with red lips and white teeth, and a hint of playfulness. It was obvious that he was dressed as a man, and his heart moved slightly. This was the younger sister of Emperor Kangxi, Princess Jianning. In his heart, Qin Ran was clear, but on the surface, he looked at Princess Jianning with a casual expression and said, "What do you call this, big brother? Where are you from?" Princess Jianning asked with a strange expression, "You don't even know me. Are you new here?" "Yes, I'm new here." "How do I call you, sir?" Qin Ran pretended to be foolish and said, "Sir." "What? Do you think I'm a sir?" Princess Jianning looked at herself up and down, and although she was dressed in ordinary clothes, her identity was clearly extraordinary when she appeared here. The little eunuch in front of me actually thinks he's a gentleman, is that foolish? Otherwise. Are you also a eunuch? Qin Ran said seriously to Princess Jianning. Princess Jianning's eyes twitched as she grew up in the deep palace from a young age, and everyone treated her with great respect. Qin Ran's completely different attitude made her feel full of novelty, and she immediately decided to play a good trick on him. "Yeah. I'm also a eunuch." Qin Ran said unhappily, "Hey. Then stop making trouble. Everyone is their own person. If you return this book to me, I will forgive you." No. Humph. If you don't give it to me, then I'll have to beat you up." Qin Ran's words have not fallen yet. Bang! Princess Jianning punched Qin Ran directly in the face. "Wow! You dare to hit me, even if you give it to me now, I will beat you up." Before he could finish speaking, Princess Jianning made another straight punch. Qin Ran was angry and said, "You bastard, I'm going to kill you, little brat." As they spoke, They chased after Princess Jianning and fled one after another. Don't run. You. Help. Brother, help. Princess Jianning ran and shouted for help, but there was no trace of fear on her face. Occasionally, a few palace maids and eunuchs passed by, and when they saw Princess Jianning, they all shuddered, as if recalling some unpleasant memories. Princess Jianning has been rebellious since she was young, and they have been harassed a lot. Obviously, this is a new eunuch who doesn't know Jianning. This master is having a lot of fun now. Poor little eunuch, I'm afraid it will be disastrous after Yu reads books. www.yuukangshu.net. Thinking of this, the eunuchs and palace maids around looked at Qin Ran with a hint of regret in their eyes, even shaking their heads and sighing. Qin Ran certainly didn't know what those eunuchs and palace maids thought. Even if he knew, he wouldn't care in his heart. As someone familiar with the plot, he deliberately pretended to be foolish. Next, Princess Jianning will take him to the imperial study, where he can smoothly meet Kangxi. So he began his next series of plans. What kind of plan is it? It's very simple, wear it clean without rebellion, chrysanthemum said electric drill. Not only for the beautiful wives in the original plot of Wei Xiaobao, but also for Qin Ran to subvert the Qin Dynasty. This not only earns praise from readers, but also maximizes the subversion of the plot and rewards the plot adaptation system. Chasing Princess Jianning, Qin Ran quickly arrived at the imperial study. Help! Brother! Although she shouted for help, Princess Jianning's face was full of smiles. When she arrived at the imperial library, she quickly hid behind her brother Kangxi by following the stairs of the attic. Watching Princess Jianning exclaim, Kangxi paused for a moment and was about to speak out and scold. Following closely behind, Qin Ran ran panting and ran to the imperial library. When he looked up and saw Kangxi beside Princess Jianning, he felt a slight joy in his heart, but on the surface, he still shouted relentlessly. Wow! How dare you find a helper? Don't think I'm scared because there are only two of you. Give me the things back quickly, or I'll show you my punching bag. Kangxi frowned slightly and whispered to Princess Jianning. Why did you have a dispute with this little eunuch? Which eunuch's subordinate is he? How dare he be so bold? Let me tell his supervisor to punish him severely. Chapter 4. The money that Hai Dafu owes me. You are listening at novelfull.audio. After finally finding a playmate who was not afraid of her, Jianning quickly whispered in Kangxi's ear, no, don't scare him away. This little eunuch is so foolish, he thinks you and I are also real eunuchs. Kangxi was taken aback for a moment and said in disbelief, you wouldn't be so foolish, would you? Also, usually those eunuchs and palace maids are so scared that they look like quails when they see us, but they don't know how to do it. This person is very brave, and when he hits me, he really does it. And he tries his best. Qin Ran looked at the two people whispering and shouted loudly, hey! What kind of devilish idea are you having? Give me back the things quickly. Jianning smiled proudly. If you have a seed, come up and take it. If you dare to come up, I dare to beat you. If you ask me to go up, I'll go up. Where will my face go? If you're a hero, come down. Qin Ran learned from the plot, and Wei Xiaobao's exaggerated tone shouted towards Kangxi and Jianning. Kangxi's heart twitched slightly and he couldn't help but ask, are you very good at fighting? He has always practiced martial arts in order to subdue the powerful minister Ao Bai in the court. Ao Bai thought he was a loyal minister, bullied him at a young age, and always controlled the court. Moreover, his martial arts skills were very impressive. So Kangxi always wanted to practice martial arts, not only for self-protection, but also to one day, except for Ao Bai, none of the eunuchs and guards in the palace dared to really fight him. Every time the competition couldn't be fully enjoyed, which made Kangxi very distressed. And the little eunuch in front of me actually doesn't know me. This immediately piqued Kangxi's interest. Of course. If you don't believe me, come down and give it a try. Okay. Kangxi slowly walked down the stairs and came to Qin Ran's face. You say, how do you want to fight? Qin Ran chuckled and said, I have 3 principles when fighting. First, don't hit my handsome face. Second, only allow me to hit your face. After listening to Qin Ran's words, Kangxi was taken aback for a moment. He was just about to say something. Bang! Qin Ran unexpectedly punched Kangxi in the face and ran away after finishing. Cunning eunuch. Don't run away. Kangxi covered his face and chased after Qin Ran, and the two quickly got into a fight. Qin Ran had never practiced any martial arts, only knew Wang Ba Quan, while Kangxi, although not lacking famous teachers, was busy with government affairs as the emperor, and no one dared to teach him dangerous moves. In a moment, the two of them even fought half a pound and 8 taels, with no difference in victory or defeat. Princess Jianning, on the other hand, carried a small stool and happily watched the two of them huddled together. Halfway through, both of them were exhausted from the fight and lay panting on the ground to rest. Qin Ran pretended to be dissatisfied. I'll tell you. When I go back and find a helper, you'll know you're wrong. My master has unparalleled martial arts skills, and even a sneeze can make you bleed 7 holes. Kneel down and beg for mercy. Who is your master? Kangxi asked curiously. My master has never seen Chen Gonggang in his lifetime. Even calling him a hero is in vain. Hai Dafu, Hai Gonggang. What's up? I'm afraid. Qin Ran looked at Kangxi with a proud expression on his face. After hearing Qin Ran's words, Kangxi suppressed his smile and said, Is Hai Gonggang your master? Qin Ran who pretended to be a tiger and said, How about it? If you're afraid, return the scriptures to me. Just compensate me a few 100 taels of silver, and I'll let you go. Kangxi smiled and suddenly had a thought in his heart. He walked up to Princess Jianning and said something in her ear. Princess Jianning immediately came to her desk to polish her ink and write. Qin Ran looked at Jianning, who was grinding ink, and felt happy in his heart, but he still pretended to be foolish and said, There's no need to write an apology. Anyway, you can just surrender and return the scriptures to me. Kangxi picked up the 42 chapters sutra and smiled at Qin Ran, saying, That's it for today. I'll play with you again tomorrow. If you can beat me tomorrow, I'll return this 42 chapters sutra to you. In addition, I'll give you another one. After speaking, Kangxi raised another 40.2 chapter scripture. Qin Ran immediately responded, Okay. That's a deal. Lying is like a puppy. During her conversation, Princess Jianning also finished writing the letter, and Kangxi stamped her own seal on it. She then wrapped the letter and handed it to Qin Ran. Qin Ran pretended to be confused and took the letter. What is this? Kangxi smiled and said, Lord Hai owes me a lot of money. You just need to show him this letter and he will teach you martial arts. Kangxi's words have just finished. Yu reading www.yuukangshu.net drip. Congratulations to the host for a 555 battle with Kangxi. Successfully changed the plot, rewarded 500 fate points, and used +1 stolen hand. The original plot is that Wei Xiaobao was suppressed and beaten by Kangxi, while he himself and Kangxi fought neck and neck, which can be considered a change in the plot. Qin Ran promised and roast in his heart. Suddenly, he felt a movement in his heart. Kangxi was the current emperor of the Qin Dynasty, and there must be many good things on his body. So he secretly released the hand of theft towards Kangxi. Drip. Obtain a strand of dragon energy holding the letter. Qin Ran walked out of the imperial study, muttering to himself, What is dragon energy? What's the use of it? Can you eat it? Looking at Qin Ran's back, Princess Jianning walked over with a smile on her face. How about it, brother? How about this little eunuch having fun? Kangxi nodded and said with a smile, Fun is fun, but my martial arts are a bit lacking. I hope Hai Dafu can pass him some more powerful martial arts, so that I can have an extra point of confidence in dealing with Aobai. When mentioning Aobai, Kangxi's face suddenly darkened a bit. With the aging and physical decline of many ministers who were determined to take orders, the influence of Aobai, who was in his prime, on the court was increasing dramatically, which made Kangxi feel a bit suffocated. Almost half of the people inside and outside this palace have turned to Aobai, and even those who are truly loyal to him are hard to find. So Kangxi valued Qin Ran so much. In his view, Qin Ran, such a reckless and ignorant eunuch, must have no connection with Aobai. On the other side, Qin Ran had already left the imperial study, with an uncontrollable excitement on his face. It's not in vain to pretend to be crazy and foolish. He has successfully gained the initial trust of Kangxi. This will be the beginning of all plans. Chapter 5. Practical Dragon Claw Hand. You are listening at Novel Full.audio. What are you talking about? There is actually a young eunuch in the Empress Dowager's palace who has similar martial arts skills and age to you. He even took away the 42-chapter scripture. Hai Dafu frowned slightly and looked at Qin Ran with a cold expression. Qin Ran nodded with a bitter smile and said, "Yes, Grandpa. That little eunuch also has an older brother. I fought with his brother, but if we couldn't fight, we reported your name. It was of no use, and we were punched twice more. You're lying. You fell for my boneless palm and dared to lie. You're so brave. Aren't you afraid that I'll poison you to death right away?" Hai Dafu stared fixedly at Qin Ran, his gaze icy as if he was looking at a dead person. "I really didn't lie. Grandpa, by the way, you should also know that eunuch. This is a letter he wrote to you, and he even said, 'Grandpa, you owe him hundreds of taels of silver and haven't paid it back.'" While speaking, Qin Ran took out the letter handed to him by Kangxi from his pocket. Hai Dafu looked at Qin Ran with suspicion and opened the letter in front of him. Soon, he saw the contents of the letter. The letter was signed with the seal of Kangxi. Kangxi also ordered Hai Dafu to teach Qin Ran martial arts well, and stated that he wanted to take Qin Ran as his confidant and use him. After reading the contents of the letter, Hai Dafu's face became unusually ugly. He glanced at Qin Ran next to him, and a hint of killing intent flashed deep in his eyes. But he was ultimately a eunuch who had been in charge of the palace for many years, with an extremely deep city government. In no time, he suppressed his killing intent in his heart. Regardless, he was a eunuch, and his honor and disgrace were all related to the emperor. There was no way he could disobey the emperor's orders. When Hai Dafu picked up the letter in front of him, a gentle smile appeared on his face. He looked at Qin Ran with a smile and said, "I don't know what martial arts do you want to learn, Xianxia Gonggang." Looking at Hai Dafu's appearance, Qin Ran sneered in his heart. "If you threaten me again, why would you change your face?" But on the surface, Qin Ran still pretended to be confused and said, "Grandpa, do you really owe that little eunuch a lot of money?" Little eunuch. Hai Dafu's face twitched slightly. This guy really dares to say it. Suppressing his anger, Hai Dafu nodded and said, "Don't talk about the money I owe him outside. By the way, what martial arts do you plan to learn?" Upon hearing the highlight, Qin Ran temporarily suppressed his other thoughts and couldn't wait to say, "If you want to teach me martial arts, then I'll reluctantly learn the bone-melting soft palm." What a reluctant one. Hai Dafu looked at Qin Ran in front of him. Although both sides seemed happy on the surface, secretly, he wished he could kill this little eunuch on the spot. "I'm so angry, but I can't have a fit." Hai Dafu took a deep breath and said with a smile, "It's great. After practicing bone-melting soft palm for 30 to 50 years, you can still achieve some success." Upon hearing Hai Dafu's nonsense, Qin Ran sneered and said that deceiving Wei Xiaobao would be enough. Want to deceive him? I clearly don't want to teach him. If it takes 3 to 50 years to practice the bone-melting soft palm before it can be fully developed, wouldn't Hai Dafu, who has mastered this skill, be over 100 years old this year? Hai Dafu didn't want to teach him, and Qin Ran couldn't force him either. So what else are you teaching me? Black Tiger Sword Technique, Plain Wind Sword Technique, Dragon Claw Hand. Hai Dafu has repeatedly revealed various martial arts moves, but they are all ordinary and belong to the kind of martial arts in the streets. Qin Ran became uninterested and didn't wait for him to finish speaking. He immediately said, "All right, then teach me Dragon Grab. At least the Dragon Claw Hand has some practical value between the sheets." Interrupted by Qin Ran, Hai Dafu didn't get very angry either. "Then I'll go out and teach you." Qin Ran honestly followed Hai Dafu to practice his Dragon Claw skills for a while. The two of them taught one and studied diligently, and time passed quickly. 3 hours later, Qin Ran suddenly heard a system prompt sound in his ear. Ding! Successfully introduced Dragon Claw Hand. With the sound of the system prompt, Qin Ran suddenly felt a gust of wind in his hands, and his speed and strength were much stronger than before. This immediately caught the attention of Hai Dafu, who looked at Qin Ran with some surprise. "I didn't expect your martial arts talent to be quite good. Dragon Claw Hand is not a complex skill. Ordinary people can learn it with dedication and even get started in 10.5 days. But someone like Qin Ran, who can get started in just a few hours, is definitely one in a million. Only people with great martial arts talents can do it. Hee hee. It's just good luck." Qin Ran smiled lightly. Everyone knows their own family affairs, and he knows that this is probably because he possesses the Tongmai martial art body, so learning any martial arts will be twice as effective with half the effort. Hai Dafu's expression was somewhat complicated. "All right. You can't chew too much, and Dragon Claw Hand is also considered beginner. It's getting late, so you should go to bed early. Go fight that person again tomorrow, but be careful not to hurt them." "I know." Qin Ran naturally understood his meaning and immediately responded, casually returning to his room to rest. Within a day, traveling through time and space, visiting the Empress Dowager's palace at night, fighting with Kangxi, and practicing the Dragon Claw Hand for so long. What he experienced today is even more exciting than what he has experienced in the past 20 years combined. Even more bizarre. In addition to freshness, reading www.uukangshu.net is not only physical exhaustion, but also psychological exhaustion. This made him fall asleep as soon as he touched the pillow. Looking at Qin Ran's back, Hai Dafu's expression changed for a while before finally letting out a long sigh. Everything that happened today was also far beyond his expectations. There was nothing to say overnight. The next day, Qin Ran slept until noon and reluctantly got up from bed under the urging of Hai Dafu. After lunch, under the urging of Hai Dafu, Qin Ran returned to the Imperial Library where he had a fight with Kangxi last night. As soon as they met, Kangxi smiled and asked, "How is it? Has Lord Hai taught you martial arts?" "Yeah." Qin Ran looked at Kangxi with a wary expression and spoke arrogantly that matched someone else's plan. "Last night I told Duke Hai about this matter. Duke Hai was furious. He was going to personally take action on the spot to teach you two a lesson, but fortunately, I had a good heart and stopped him in time. And I also told him that there's no need to use an ox knife to kill a chicken. Just pass on a martial arts skill from my father.in.law, and I can make your 7 orifices bleed. My father.in.law is very pleased, so he passed on the superior martial arts skill to me. See if I don't make your 7 orifices bleed today." Upon hearing Qin Ran's scolding, Kangxi's face turned strange and he glanced at Princess Jianning beside him, almost unable to laugh. They naturally knew that Kangxi wrote the letter to Hai Dafu in the name of the emperor. Give Hai Dafu 10,000 courage, he wouldn't be able to say such words. The little eunuch in front of me is really interesting. Of course, this is also the result that Qin Ran wants. A witty, humorous, schemless, and threat-free eunuch, who cannot love him. Chapter 6. Don't move where? I'm not a woman. You are listening at novel full.audio. Great. Since you have learned top-notch martial arts, let's have a competition. Before Kangxi could finish speaking, Qin Ran had already started attacking first. Bending his hands into eagle claws, he quickly reached out and grabbed towards Kangxi's chest. Kangxi was caught off guard and immediately grabbed two pieces of fabric from his chest, revealing two fist-sized holes. He had been attacked by this kind of attack before, so he quickly hid to the side and looked at Qin Ran angrily, asking, "What kind of kung fu are you?" He. 100 shots, 100 hits, a piercing dragon claw hand. How about it? Are you afraid? Qin Ran said to Kangxi with a proud expression, looking as if he had no confidence in himself. Humph. I would be afraid of you. Kangxi looked unhappy. Come again. As they spoke, Qin Ran and Kangxi engaged in another fight. At this point, Qin Ran had already entered the level of Dragon Claw Hand Fu, much stronger than Wei Xiaobao in the original plot. For a moment, Kangxi surprisingly had no ability to resist. A few wrong bodies, Kangxi covered his chest and angrily said. You little rascal, you know how to catch someone else's chest with your vulgar moves. Qin Ran retorted, Hee, catching you is to appreciate you. I usually only use this move on women. Today, I reluctantly used it on you. How about it? If you're afraid, surrender. Kangxi refused to admit defeat. You little eunuch, you are slick and despicable. Let me teach you a lesson. During the conversation, both sides engaged in a fight. At this moment, a strong voice suddenly came from outside the door. I would like to inform the Emperor that the Crown Prince, Xiaobao, is seeking an audience with Lord Ao. Upon hearing this voice, Kangxi's face changed and a hint of anger flashed in his eyes. Qin Ran looked even more shocked. Emperor. Emperor. Where is the Emperor? Jianning jumped up and tapped Qin Ran's head. You idiot, haven't you realized that my brother is the Emperor yet? Ah. Qin Ran pretended to be stunned. Humph. This Aobai dares to break into the imperial study without my orders, it's too presumptuous. Kangxi looked angry and turned his head to look at Qin Ran and Princess Jianning beside him, saying, Hurry up, hide and avoid. Seeing the footsteps outside the door getting closer and closer, Qin Ran and Princess Jianning panicked and hid under the nearby desk. Just as he hid, Aobai had already led a group of ministers into the imperial library. Chen Aobai, bring 100 officials and see the Emperor. Flat. Kangxi tried his best to maintain the surface tranquility and waved to Aobai and the ministers. Aobai stood up, while the other ministers were as cold as cicadas. Seeing Aobai's lack of signal, they dared not stand up. Kangxi looked at it and felt even more dissatisfied, but he didn't say much either. Ao Xiaobao and several ministers have requested to meet. Do you have anything important to report to me? Aobai did not follow the etiquette of monarchs and ministers, and surprisingly walked within 3 steps of Kangxi. He spoke with great righteousness and said, Please immediately issue a decree to imprison the Grand Secretary Sony. Upon hearing Aobai's words, a hint of anger flashed deep in Kangxi's eyes, but he remained calm on the surface. He looked at Aobai and said, Ao Xiaobao, Grand Secretary Sony, and you are also one of the ministers appointed by the late Emperor to assist me. The credit lies in the country. Why did the accident make him restrained? Sony's heinous crimes have caused a lot of resentment among the people, not to mention their dissatisfaction with him. If he is not detained and investigated, it may be difficult to quell the public's anger. Therefore, colleagues recommend Aobai and earnestly request the Emperor to issue an order. The other ministers also joined in, I earnestly request the Emperor to issue an order. Seeing the courtiers swaying with the wind, Kangxi secretly clenched his fist and suppressed his murderous intent, saying, The reasons mentioned by Ao Xiaobao are unfounded and have no evidence. How can we arbitrarily detain the minister of Sui Ming? Bai looked at Kangxi with a cold gaze, fearlessly confronting him and gradually approaching him. The words of Wei Chen are proof. Wei Chen has more than 1 million soldiers and horses under his command. The military order in his mouth is more important than that of Mount Taishan. A wave of the military flag in his hand means that 1,000 heads will fall to the ground. Does your majesty think that Wei Chen will lie? Even if the emperor thinks that Wei Chen is lying, is it possible that all the civil and military officials in the court are lying? Bai's tone was solemn, and he deliberately did so. In ancient times, Zhao Gao referred to deer as horses, but today, Wei Xiaobao uses words as evidence to forcefully kill important officials. Even the emperor cannot protect the people Bai wants to kill, so he can establish absolute authority in the hearts of the ministers. Please think twice, Emperor. At this moment, the ministers kneeling on the ground spoke in unison. This is already a blatant forced palace. Kangxi felt a little flustered and afraid in his heart. As Bai approached, he instinctively took 2 steps back. I need to take a closer look. At this moment, under the desk in the imperial study, Princess Jianning had a smile in her bright eyes, and she had been fidgeting with Qin Ran ever since she hid under her desk. And Qin Ran was not good at resisting, so he could only say in a low voice, "Yu reading book www.yuukangshu.net. What are you doing? Don't move there, I'm not a woman. What are you afraid of? I know you're not a woman, and I also know you're not a man. If you're neither a woman nor a man, what are you like?" Curiosity ignited Jianning's playfulness and he reached out his small hand to fiercely scratch Qin Ran's lower body. Qin Ran took a cold breath and said, "What are you doing?" Qin Ran's whole body trembled, while Princess Jianning's eyes were filled with shock. "You actually have." Immediately, her eyes lit up, and an uncontrollable excitement overflowed. She grabbed it with a cheap hand, then curiously flicked it. Just grab it, but flicking it would be a bit excessive. Even with psychological preparation, Qin Ran instinctively stood up and left the table where he was hiding. What person? The sudden appearance of Qin Ran caught everyone's attention, and they all looked at Qin Ran in unison. The originally solemn and quiet atmosphere in the imperial study was one of relief, and Kangxi, who was forced to the corner of the palace, immediately breathed a sigh of relief. Qin Ran's sudden appearance not only diverted the attention of the ministers, but also greatly reduced his pressure. Thinking of this, Kangxi looked at Qin Ran with a hint of gratitude in his eyes, "Rescuing me from the predicament, good brother." And Bai was very angry. Seeing that the little emperor had been forced by himself to directly agree to arrest Sony, suddenly a little eunuch appeared, breaking everything he had carefully designed. Bold eunuch. What kind of heart is hiding here? Someone. Immediately drag them out and behead them. Bai shouted loudly to the guard outside the door. Cannot be beheaded. He is my confidant. Before Qin Ran could speak, Kangxi stood up and directly endorsed his identity. Chapter 7. Naughty Princess Jianning, you are listening at novelfull.audio. Qin Ran felt a sense of joy in his heart, finally having the status of the emperor's confidant. From now on, his actions will be much simpler and more convenient. After listening to Kangxi's words, those ministers also bowed to Qin Ran and flattered him one after another. "Hello, confidant. Hello, confidant." Bai's face turned ugly and he stared at Qin Ran, saying, "My confidant, why haven't I ever heard of it? There are so many things you haven't heard of. As the emperor's confidant, do you have to know?" Qin Ran rudely retorted back. Now, he was wearing a layer of the emperor's confidant. Even Bai could not handle himself beyond the emperor's control. It was not impossible, but rather a loss outweighing the gain. Bai gave Qin Ran a cold glance and then faced Kangxi, attempting to continue forcing the palace. "I don't care who you are, but Emperor, I want you to immediately order the detention of Sony." When expressing loyalty and gaining trust in front of Kangxi, Qin Ran took a deep breath and stood in front of Kangxi, loudly reprimanding. Dare to say goodbye? How dare you speak so loudly to the emperor? Do you want to die? It's just too much. The emperor has his own sense of propriety for what he's doing, and you need to keep talking here. Basically, Sony doesn't pay for meals, and we all know about teasing your mother and seducing your wife. You're talking nonsense. Ao Baihu's eyes widened as he had experienced such humiliation and was about to argue. I haven't finished speaking yet. Qin Ran interrupted him and continued, actually, I am the undercover agent arranged by the emperor next to you. Speaking of which, Qin Ran glanced at Kangxi and blinked to signal. Kangxi suddenly understood and boldly said, not bad. Gold medal undercover agent. Qin Ran nodded in satisfaction and said, the emperor knows all the terrible things Sony did, so he instructed me to keep an eye on Sony and his accomplices. You are so eager to kill Sony, you are his accomplice. You want to kill him to protect yourself. You're talking nonsense. Ao Bai argued angrily, I hold the army of the world, and I have more than 10 million under my command. Do I need to be with Sony? Threatening. Qin Ran pointed at Ao Bai and said, how dare you threaten the emperor? Everyone has heard that this person has bullied the emperor. Someone. Drag him out and behead him. As soon as Qin Ran finished speaking, Kangxi beside him stared at Qin Ran in amazement and said, is that how he killed Ao Bai? How could it be? Just as he was about to intervene, Qin Ran waved his hand again and said, wait a minute. Forget it, I see you're pretty good, I'll give you another chance. You go. Let's not do it again. I killed you, little eunuch. Ao Bai's eyes were filled with anger, as he reached out his palm to pat Qin Ran. Kill me. Don't bother you. Qin Ran arched his hand towards Ao Bai and said without fear, as long as your majesty orders, everyone will have their heads on the ground. But I don't know if it's you or me first. Ao Bai was speechless for a moment. After all, Kangxi was still the emperor today, and he was only a minister. Even if he had power over the court and the opposition, he would still have to consider the differences between monarchs and subjects. Kangxi took the opportunity to speak. Ao Xiaobao, regarding the Sony issue, I have my own solution. If you report it for your merits, I will reward you tomorrow and send it to your mansion. You and the ministers will step down now. Upon hearing Kangxi's words, the ministers who were sandwiched between the left and right in the middle breathed a sigh of relief and kowtowed to Kangxi, saying, thank you, Emperor. I apologize for any inconvenience caused. Ao Bai, who knew that the opportunity was completely lost and that things could not be done, gave Qin Ran a cannibalistic look and turned to smile in anger, ahaha. It's true that heroes emerge from youth. After speaking, Ao Bai walked up to Kangxi and arched his hand, saying, Your Majesty, I will leave first. After speaking, he slowly withdrew from the imperial study with many ministers. After Ao Bai and other ministers disappeared from sight, Qin Ran and Kangxi almost breathed a sigh of relief at the same time. Even Qin Ran, who knew the outcome early on, knew that his recent behavior was undoubtedly dancing on the edge of the sword. Even if Ao Bai angrily killed him on the spot, everyone around him had no way to stop him. I will definitely die myself. This is undoubtedly a gamble, and the plot has not changed. Fortunately, the plot did not deviate. At this time, Sony, who was also a minister in charge, was not dead, and the power of Ao Bai had not reached its peak. There were still many concerns. Kangxi couldn't help but wipe his cold sweat. Ao Bai led the ministers to come with great force. If Ao Bai succeeded in forcing the palace this time, his political rival Sony would die, and Ao Bai's reputation would rise sharply, even surpassing his own imperial power. In the future, no one will be able to control the power of worshipping in the court. At this moment, Princess Jianning bounced out and joked, Brother, this time, Xianxia is much stronger than you. You were scared like a quail just now, and you dare not refute anything Xiaobai said. As he spoke, Jianning looked at Qin Ran with an unknown emotion in his eyes, admiring him. He is so powerful, he dares to speak to Xiaobai, who is in a state of power. You look so handsome again. Most importantly, he is not a eunuch. Kangxi patted Qin Ran's shoulder and said, "It's all up to you this time." "Where is it?" Qin Ran seemed to have thought of something and quickly bowed to Kangxi, saying, "Xiaoranzi has offended Long Yan a lot before. Please forgive me, Emperor." Flat, those who don't know are not guilty. Kangxi waved his hand. He didn't have time to appreciate Qin Ran, who had just helped him a lot. How could he blame him? Emperor Xie. Princess Jianning's eyes rolled and she coquettishly said to Kangxi, "Brother, I think Xiaoranzi is so interesting. Why don't you give him to me?" Kangxi frowned and scolded, "No nonsense. Now is the time to hire people, Xiaoranzi. I'm here." Qin Ran didn't want to call himself a servant like those clad servants. In his opinion, Kangxi was just a small boss on his way through the customs. Sooner or later, I will ride on his head and bully him. How could I call him the master? Kangxi did not pay much attention to these trivial details in his address. "I now appoint you as the Imperial Gold Medal undercover spy. In addition to dealing with Xiaobai, you must continue to stay by Hai Dafu's side and monitor his movements." For these demands, Qin Ran naturally couldn't help but beg for them. He immediately bowed and saluted, saying, "I will take the order." "All right, you step back." "Yes." Qin Ran slowly retreated and left the imperial study. He took a deep breath and was about to leave when Princess Jianning suddenly blocked his way. "Brother Xiaoranzi." Princess Jianning's eyes were filled with spring water, her face flushed with peach blossoms, and she shouted to Qin Ranjiao. "What are you doing?" Qin Ran looked slightly wary at Princess Jianning in front of him. The princess in front of him was not a fuel-efficient lamp. Although she was pure and beautiful, she had a frivolous and mischievous personality. She grew up in the deep palace and had never seen a man since childhood. In fact, she was very coquettish. Chapter 8. Princess Jianning returns to her heart. You are listening at Novel Full.audio. Princess Jianning blushed slightly and coquettishly said to Qin Ran. "Xiaoranzi Gonggang was so imposing just now. I really admire him." Qin Ran took 2 steps back and said, "And then?" Jianning coquettishly said, "Why don't you come with me?" "What if I don't want to go?" Qin Ran looked at Princess Jianning and said. "Then don't blame me for taking action." After speaking, Princess Jianning ordered the eunuchs standing by with their hands tied up, "You guys. Get him up for me and send him to my palace." "Yes." The eunuchs had already stepped forward, each embracing Qin Ran's limbs. Qin Ran was taken aback by this situation. With his current strength, he could still deal with 3 or 5 eunuchs, but after thinking about it, he didn't take any action and let these eunuchs take him away. Princess Jianning, who has been pampered since childhood and everything goes smoothly, seems to have Stockholm Syndrome. It can be considered the pinnacle of the letter world, SM, so Qin Ran decided to first take care of Jianning, this little scoundrel. The eunuchs carried Qin Ran to Princess Jianning's palace, and after retiring, they all left. Jianning held back his left and right, closed the gate of the dormitory, and Ran Hui walked over with a mischievous smile on his face, looking at Qin Ran, "Hee. Xiaoranzi, haven't you fallen into my hands yet?" While speaking, he also extended his little tongue to lick his lips, his eyes filled with curiosity and greed. She took out her long whip from somewhere, looking eager to try. But how could Qin Ran be slaughtered? He took a brisk step and came to Princess Jianning's side. His ape arms stretched out and he picked her up. Before she could react, he took off her pants and slapped the plump half-moon hard. Pop. The crisp sound of applause echoed in Princess Jianning's sleeping palace. At this moment, time seemed to stand still, and Jianning was stunned. She even forgot to scream and resist. She turned her head in confusion and looked at Qin Ran incredulously. You dare to hit me? You dare to hit me? Moreover, you dare to hit me? What's wrong with hitting you? Qin Ran slapped and hit hard, while observing Jianning's expression with the remaining light of his eyes. A blush of embarrassment instantly climbed onto Jianning's pretty face, but her body was surprisingly honest, without screaming or struggling. Qin Ran finally calmed down. It's just you shameless little bitch who got caught. As he spoke, Qin Ran slapped him hard again, and by then, Jianning's buttocks had turned even redder than his face. Don't. Jianning emits a sound as fine as mosquito chirping. Do you dare to bully me again in the future? No. I dare not. Qin Ran slapped hard twice again. At this moment, Princess Jianning was already gentle like a kitten, curled up in his arms. Too much is not enough. Seeing that the goal had been achieved, Qin Ran had no intention of continuing. He casually pulled up Princess Jianning's pants. All right. If there's nothing else, I'll leave first. After speaking, Qin Ran prepared to place Jianning on the ground and then leave. The ground is dirty, can you carry me to bed? Princess Jianning hugged Qin Ran tightly and refused to let go, whispering in her ear. Qin Ran pretended to be angry and said, Are you commanding me? I dare not. Jianning looked at Qin Ran with some fear and pleaded, But my butt hurts so much, I really can't walk anymore. Okay. This is the last time. Looking at the beauty's pleading, Qin Ran reluctantly picked her up and came to her bedside, put Jianning down, and then prepared to turn around and leave. However, Princess Jianning suddenly hooked Qin Ran's waist with her foot, and for some reason, her strength suddenly increased significantly. Qin Ran surprisingly failed to stabilize his figure and stumbled, falling directly onto the bed. A small hand reached out and pulled down the bed curtain. Suddenly, the spring scenery couldn't cover the whole room, and the palace maids were ashamed to hear the sound of shaking the bed. The battle lasted until it was getting late, and Jianning was defeated, exclaiming that he was powerless to fight again. Qin Rankai sat up from the bed and looked at the bloodstains on the bed. His head suddenly felt big. How come Jianning's strength is so strong? He has become so trapped that he cannot escape. Now the situation has escalated. Xianggong. With two fair arms resting on his shoulders, Princess Jianning looked satisfied and said to Qin Ran with a happy smile. I'll go beg the Emperor's brother to marry us. Upon hearing Princess Jianning's words, Qin Ran's eyelids twitched. These women have long hair and short knowledge. If Kangxi knew that he had caused trouble to his closest sister, he might have turned against her on the spot and the good situation would have been ruined. This matter still needs to be considered in the long run. Qin Ran coughed lightly and explained to Princess Jianning. Don't rush to propose marriage to the Emperor. He thought I was a eunuch, which would make him doubt my identity. If there is any misunderstanding, he will kill me. No way. Princess Jianning quickly shook her head. Brother, he's really spoiling me. Qin Ran was enraged and said, What if? What if he kills me, wouldn't you lose your husband? But. What else does Jianning want to say? All right. This matter ends here. When the time is ripe, I will naturally propose marriage to the Emperor. Qin Ran had a stern face and pretended to be unhappy, scolding him. Okay. I'll listen to you. Seeing Qin Ran unhappy, Jianning had no choice but to entrust Chu Baba to agree. The woman married her husband, let alone her voluntary choice. Now, Jianning's heart has been completely blamed on Qin Ran and captured by him. Are you being good? Seeing Princess Jianning agree, Qin Ran also showed a timely smile and touched her little head to show encouragement. The two of them warmed up until dark. Qin Rankai sneaked out of Jianning's dormitory. Even if he is currently a eunuch, it is not easy for him to stay in the princess's palace for too long, otherwise rumors will also spread. Drip. Congratulations to the host for resting in Princess Jianning's palace, changing the plot, and obtaining a chance to use the thief's phone once. Destiny point. 1000. The sudden system prompt sound delighted Qin Ran. I didn't expect this to change the plot and earn rewards. That's right, I successfully made Princess Jianning change her husband. So, as long as I took all of Wei Xiaobao's wife from the original work under my command, wouldn't I be able to earn multiple rewards? How beautiful it is to be able to hold beautiful women and receive rewards. Thinking of this, Qin Ran's footsteps became much lighter. Chapter 9. The Secret Scripts of Wisdom Taking and Bone Transformation Soft Palm. You are listening at novelfull.audio. After leaving Jianning dormitory, Qin Ran swaggered down the path of the palace. Good Lord Ran. Ran Gong Gong. Any disturbance in the palace spreads extremely quickly, especially the sensational event in the morning. Qin Ran publicly challenged the important minister Ao Bai in the imperial study, forcing him to retreat, and the matter that won the favor of Kangxi had already spread throughout the entire palace in half a day. So, along the way, both palace maids and eunuchs showed goodwill to Qin Ran, which made him feel very happy. This means that even if he pretended to be a tiger, he still had a certain influence in the palace. Qin Ran nodded casually towards the eunuchs and palace maids beside him, with his hand behind his back. Not long after, Qin Ran returned to the side hall of Hai Dafu. Although he spread widely throughout the entire palace in the imperial study today, there were no eunuchs to serve beside Hai Dafu except for him. Even the small eunuchs who usually deliver dine-ins were afraid of the gloomy Hai Dafu. I dare not say anything more in front of him. So now, Hai Dafu naturally doesn't know about Qin Ran's anger towards Ao Bai, which earned Kangxi's trust. As soon as Qin Ran returned, Hai Dafu immediately noticed his return and asked in a voice. Coming back. How was the situation with that person today? Did they win or lose? Oh, I'm in good form today. I had an even draw with that little eunuch. Qin Ran's heart moved and then answered with a smile. In this situation, only ambiguity is the best choice, and it can also prevent Hai Dafu from knowing what happened during the day today and threatening him with the poison of bone transforming soft palms and the identity of a fake eunuch to do something. But obviously, Hai Dafu was not satisfied with this answer. He walked over to Qin Ran with a gloomy expression and asked coldly. What about the 42 chapters of the classic? Qin Ran's eyes turned and he immediately replied, I made an agreement with that eunuch that we would only give it to me if we won. I haven't won him yet, have I? Hai Dafu sneered twice. Did the green gas on your hand reach your elbow? Qin Ran rolled up his sleeves and looked at his arm. The green gas, which symbolized the toxicity of bone-melting soft palms, was only 3 inches away from his elbow, which made his face change uncontrollably. It's almost here, but Grandpa Hai, I suspect that I can't defeat that eunuch because of this poison. If you're willing to help me detoxify this poison, maybe I can defeat him and bring back the 42 chapters of scripture. Humph. How dare you play tricks? Hai Dafu grabbed Qin Ran's collar and threatened something. At this moment, a sound of footsteps suddenly came from the entrance of the side hall, which made Hai Dafu's face slightly change. He grabbed Qin Ran, his figure flashed, and he hid in the dark of the room. Who is outside? Hai Dafu looked alert and asked towards the door. Hai Gong Gong, we were sent by the Empress Dowager. The voice of a palace maid rang out. Hai Dafu's eyes narrowed slightly and he slowly spoke, Hai Dafu is sick again and cannot go out to greet all the sisters. Do you have any instructions from the Empress Dowager? The Empress Dowager wants to invite Xianxia, one of her father-in-law's subordinates, to go. Upon hearing the palace maid's words, Hai Dafu immediately looked at Qin Ran with a dangerous and inexplicable expression in his eyes. Did Xianxia make any mistakes? I can punish him on behalf of the Empress Dowager. Stop talking nonsense, quickly call Xianxia out, we need to hurry back and report. The voice of the palace maid carried impatience and coldness. Hai Dafu looked at Qin Ran with a cold gaze and said coldly, "Why did the Empress Dowager come to see you?" "Ah. How do I know? Maybe I'm too handsome, that's why I alarmed the Empress Dowager." Qin Ran replied innocently. After listening to Qin Ran's answer, Hai Dafu pondered for a moment, his expression suddenly slowed down, and a smile appeared. He took out a yellow paper bag from his arms and ordered, "Since that's the case, here is a bag of 5 poisons powder. You can find a chance to put it in the Empress Dowager's tea or liquor." "Ah. I won't do it. It's too dangerous." Qin Ran firmly refused. Hai Dafu threatened, "Don't worry, I will protect you in the dark. If you don't listen to me, I will directly activate the bone-melting soft palm, turning you into a pool of blood. I won't go either. If I don't go, I'll die. If I go, I'll be discovered, and it's still a word of death. Sooner or later, I'll die. I might as well die here." Qin Ran shook his head, still unwilling. The poison of Hua Gu Mian Palm does not threaten him. He has a resurrection pill gifted in the beginner gift package, which claims to be able to resurrect a person with just 1 breath left. It is easy to solve the limited toxicity. Hai Gonggang, quickly hand over Xianxia. We are still waiting to go back and report. If we delay the time and provoke the Empress Dowager, it will be bad for both you and me. At this moment, the palace maids outside the door became impatient and their voices came again. "So, how would you be willing to go?" Upon hearing the palace maid's urging, Hai Dafu also understood that he could not directly kill Qin Ran now, but could only suppress his killing intent. Yu read the book www.yuukangshu.net and discussed in a relaxed tone. Qin Ran had already been calculating in his heart and immediately said, "I want the secret recipe for bone-melting soft palm. As long as you are willing to give it to me, I will go. And as you said, poison the Empress Dowager." "You." Upon hearing Qin Ran's conditions, Hai Dafu's face slightly changed, and his heart was filled with murderous intent. This little eunuch really knows how to find an opportunity to offer conditions. But he still agreed, "Okay. I promise you. After everything is done, I will definitely give you the secret recipe for bone-melting soft palm. No way. I'm afraid you'll lie to me, I want it now." Qin Ran knew that his current self had nothing to do with the Empress Dowager, so this time it was probably not the Empress Dowager looking for him, but the maid sweeping Jianning was instructing the palace maids. The men and women who had just tasted the forbidden fruit have never seen each other for a day, and it is likely that Jianning wanted to find him and indulge in another night of pleasure. So Qin Ran dared to confidently negotiate terms with Hai Dafu. "Hai Gonggang. If you don't let people go, we'll go in and take them." The palace maid outside the door issued another urging. Upon hearing this, Hai Dafu's expression was uncertain. Finally, he gritted his teeth and said, "Okay. Then I'll give it to you now, as you wish." He took out a booklet from his body and handed it to Qin Ran along with the 5 poisons powder. Qin Ran naturally took over everything without any hesitation. Seeing the 4 words, Hua Gu Mian Zhang, written in the booklet, he couldn't help but be delighted and quickly put them into his own pocket. "Now it's ready," Hai Dafu said angrily. "Of course." Qin Ran pushed open the door and walked out. As soon as he left, before he could speak, the palace maids immediately took action, using their swords to trim Qin Ran's clothes to only his underwear, and then wrapped him in a blanket. Chapter 10. Caught in bed by the Empress Dowager. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Such rude behavior made Qin Ran a bit angry. It must have been deliberately instructed by that dead girl from Jianning. It seems that she hasn't trained enough on her own. After seeing her later, he will definitely give her a good lesson. Quickly, these palace maids carried Qin Ran and arrived at the Empress Dowager's bedroom. After entering a side hall, the palace maids let go of Qin Ran and turned around to leave. When the palace maids left, Qin Ran said helplessly, "Jianning, they have all left. Why haven't you come out yet?" "Hee hee. How do you know it's me?" Jianning walked out with a smile on her face, dressed in a seductive and light veil, as if peach blossoms. "Humph. That's me with great powers and foresight. Don't even let go of the blanket on me. Here we go." Jianning quickly untied the blanket on Qin Ran's body. Looking at Qin Ran's slender and muscular body, Jianning couldn't even move her eyes. She swallowed her saliva and couldn't wait to pounce at Qin Ran. "Wait a minute. Can we move to a different place? Hey, don't bite me there. Damn it, look at my dragon claw hands." 2 hours later, the clouds dissipated and the rain subsided. Princess Jianning nestled in Qin Ran's arms, looking satisfied. Qin Ran instinctively touched his waist, wanting to light a post-event cigarette, but unfortunately felt empty. Only then did he realize that he was in ancient times, so he angrily scolded Xiao Jianning. "Don't be so high-profile in the future. Let the Empress Dowager's palace maids come and catch me. If anything happens between us, of course you will be fine. I'm different. You'll be beheaded. Also, what's the point of having the palace maid strip off my clothes if nothing happens? How do you want me to go back? They haven't seen you for half an hour, do they miss you? As for the clothes, I have prepared new ones for you," Princess Jianning said somewhat arrogantly. Qin Ran put on the clothes prepared by Jianning, which fit very well and have a soft texture, making it extremely comfortable to wear. "All right. That's all for today's matter, let's not make an exception." At this moment, with a squeak sound, the door of the dormitory was unexpectedly pushed open. The Empress Dowager appeared at the door, looking at Princess Jianning and Qin Ran in disheveled clothes, her face cold. "Jianning. What are you two doing?" "We're playing hide and seek." Princess Jianning was shocked and hid behind Qin Ran, her eyes dodging, stuttering as she explained. "Jianning, you have a mischievous nature and I allow you to do many things, but this time you are fooling around with a young eunuch. Although there won't be any trouble, let others know. How shameless do you want me to meet people?" The Empress Dowager scolded Jianning while slowly approaching. "Mother, I was wrong. I won't dare again, I really won't. Please spare me this time," Princess Jianning pleaded with the Empress Dowager. Qin Ran swallowed his saliva and was about to leave as soon as he saw the situation. "Stop." The Empress Dowager refused to let him run away and directly blocked the way. "Does the Empress Dowager have anything else to instruct? I'll go and take care of it now." Qin Ran smiled awkwardly and politely at the Empress Dowager. "In order to protect the princess's reputation, I can only make you suffer and die." The Empress Dowager said coldly, and after finishing speaking, she raised her palm and was about to take action. Qin Ran's face suddenly changed, didn't it? "It's really fun." Before he could react, a man in black suddenly descended from the sky on the beam of the house, blocking the Empress Dowager's palm. "What kind of person are you? You have repeatedly broken into my palace. Do you know that this is a great crime to punish the 9 clans? The Empress Dowager's face was solemn, and the man in black had strong martial arts skills, making him a formidable opponent. "Humph. Do you really consider yourself the Empress Dowager?" Raising his hand, he knocked out Princess Jianning on the side. The man in black snorted coldly and said, "You are just a fake. Last time I saw it, you used the martial arts of the Divine Dragon sect. What is your purpose of lurking in the palace? Speak up. If you want me to say it, it depends on whether you have the ability or not." Upon hearing the words of the man in black, the Empress Dowager's face changed greatly, and she immediately flew forward, fighting as a group. The indoor space was narrow, and soon it hit the outside. Qin Ran first hugged Princess Jianning, who was unconscious, and only then quickly followed her out after confirming that she was not in any serious condition. As in the original plot, one of them had excellent martial arts skills and the other had rich combat experience. Before long, the Empress Dowager and Hai Dafu each slapped each other. Both vomited blood and fell to the ground, both were injured and unable to move. Qin Ran, who had just walked out, surprisingly became the last straw to crush the camel. Seeing Qin Ran, Hai Dafu was overjoyed and said, "Xiaoranzi, kill this witch quickly. If I die, no one will detoxify your bone-soft palm for you." The Empress Dowager's face changed and she immediately said, "If someone below Hai Dafu commits a crime, they should be punished. Xiaoranzi, kill him quickly for the AI family. The AI family will have the Emperor appoint you as a high-ranking official, and I can also help you detoxify." She took out a gorgeous hairpin from her arms and threw it to Qin Ran. "Hurry up. This is the divine dragon sting. With this sting, I will dispel Hai Dafu's true qi and cause his blood to flow back and die. Insert the divine dragon sting into his forehead." Qin Ran calmly looked at the two, pondering in his heart how to act in order to maximize benefits. He slowly walked towards Hai Dafu. "Hai Gonggong, why don't you help me detoxify my bony soft palms first? You know, I don't feel very secure as a person. If you don't detoxify me now, I really won't believe you."